Yo, we're gonna be seeing Assassin's Creed Shadow Review by IGN. The game was released to streamers last night, if I'm not wrong. I watched a bit of gameplay. It seemed most of the people I saw seemed to have problems, but it was mainly with the OBS. It was stuttering, lagging, doing a lot of things. So let's see how IGN sees it. The game has a lot of drama.
It's wild that it took almost 20 years and dozens of games for the biggest stealth action series around to finally bend towards feudal Japan. Assassin's Creed
yeah. Japan was one of the most asked for Assassin's Creed's, what they called, request. Like every game, I would see someone, oof, imagine if they did a Japan. Although, I don't know if they wanted feudal Japan or like current Japan with all the neon things, like a cyberpunk type. I feel like most people, I guess feudal is good. Yeah.
Shadows makes the most of that theme, with a great pair of shinobi and samurai heroes sharing center stage that are fun to skulk through giant castles or wade into.
My main problem with the Assassin's Creed series is that it turned from an Assassin's game into a not Souls-like, but more action type of game. Because the Assassins I played, I think one of them was on PSP, which was the one with the white cloak, and you actually jumped into like the hay. I also played another one. I don't remember the name, but it had like a really good parkour. Was that Brotherhood? They also released one on phone. I had a shitty phone, so I couldn't really play it.
Vicious battles. Besides the setting, the bulk of the changes this time around focus on making smaller tweaks to well-established systems, such as less cluttered maps and skill trees, while also doubling down on things that really worked in 2023's Assassin's Creed Mirage. Down on things that really worked in 2023's Assassin's Creed Mirage.
That's
the more focused combat that accompanies its better paced main quests. It's not a perfect reset, as imbalances and missed opportunities.
If I'm not wrong, they removed that in other Assassin's Creed, no? The dismemberment? Oh fuck, whatever. Dismemberment? And blood itself was also like toned down a lot. So it's honestly good to see them they brought it back.
Opportunities abound, but I feel more confident than ever that Assassin's Creed could be back and here to stay.
And once this is done, I will never take up the sword again. Let us get this over with.
Like a river in the rainy season, Shadow's story overflows with cliches and tropes.
Doesn't look bad, to be honest.
But morally complex intersecting plots still keep the intrigue high, which is the same trick that made Assassin's Creed Valhalla's stories work when they did. I don't think I was particularly wowed by any.
I don't think I ever played an Assassin's Creed story. I mean, in the one I played, I got into a clock tower, I guess it was, or like a tall building, and there was like an old man there that I killed. Was it like that? Yeah, I think it was like, that's what I remember. So I guess I didn't follow the story because that looked like a final boss. I don't know, I was a little kid.
Any of the writing on a regular basis, but there are some standout moments of tense reflection and curious happenings sprinkled throughout.
Who is behind these murders?
I don't know.
The typical Assassin's Creed conspiracy woven into it fits perfectly within the war-torn Sengoku period of Japan too, like a hidden blade snugly in its wrist sheath. It's still a bit too full of go here, do that quests as bridges between major moments, but Shadows is organized in a way that can be enjoyed in pieces and at your leisure without getting too lost between plot points. Almost how one might enjoy a good book.
Yeah, that's fine.
The leads themselves are wonderful. You spend a lot of the early game with the sharp-witted and brooding Naoe, who is among the last shinobi warriors of the Iga clan, a role thrust upon her by tragedy. That tragedy befell her in part.
Are shinobis assassins? I thought shinobis were samurai, right? Oh no, they were assassins, yeah. That's weird. No, there's. I guess they're both. Oh no, they're ninjas, right? Yeah.
by the
Naruto
hands of
is
the
a hero,
charismatic
right?
Hulk Yasuke, who is a tireless warrior for justice and peace. When they begin working together, they are frequently each other's most reliable counsel, with different perspectives on the events going on around them.
Perhaps in that chance lies the seed of redemption for each of us.
In other words, they truly do balance one another. And while I don't think either one would win popularity contests against some of the other series stars like Ezio or Edward, together they serve as a bright light in the center of a largely dark tale of revenge. Bright light in the center of a largely
But maybe it's just me. Whenever I see like it stops and your character
dark tale
does
of
like
revenge.
super fast attacks.
Together they serve as a
Like, I'm
bright
not a
light
fan
in the
of it. It
center
just
of
looks
a largely
shitty to me.
dark
Like it looks like low quality dog shit.
tale of revenge. Bright
Also,
light
you
in
did
the
all
center
that,
of a
you
largely
didn't
dark
kill the
tale
guy?
of revenge. Most of the missions in Shadow starts on the refreshingly intuitive objective board. Thematically, this approach matches the tone of using all of the information you gather to identify hidden members of a secret society trying to plunge Japan into chaos. Functionally, the way it organizes outstanding tasks and the people involved is far more useful than the old bulleted quest lists. Selecting a quest gave me a short list of clues to help discern where the objective was. Past Assassin's Creed games have tried versions of this before, but this one is the first one that I felt consistently made me look at my map and actually deduce where the spot in question might be. Rather than lighting up your map with a galaxy of tooltips, Shadows mostly relies on sparse points of interest icons to push you towards the areas you'll need to see in person. Even when you climb up to the signature high points to take a good long look at your surroundings,
I don't know. It looks cool, but it also looks bad in some way. I think it's the trees. The trees just look. It's gonna sound weird, but they look too similar. Even though most trees look similar, but it's like, I don't know. I don't like
even
it.
when you climb up to the signature high points to take a good long look at your surroundings, you'll see a bunch of these things that tell you that there's something out there, but you're gonna have to go check them out for yourself to know what.
That's cool.
I love
Before
this.
they just
I could
mark
feel
them.
my brain starting to detangle the checklist conditioning that years of these games have instilled in me.
Oh, so you can
Most of
mark
these
them.
undiscovered locations fall into a number of reliable categories, like castles you can infiltrate and attempt. These undiscovered locations fall into a number of reliable categories, like castles.
Does that attack never hit? Then what's the point of having it?
Most of these
Like that,
undiscovered
like-
locations fall into a number of reliable
Like he's not even looking,
categories, like
and it doesn't hit. What the fuck is that?
castles you can infiltrate and attempt to steal special gear
Like
from,
the other guy, sure, he
or
was
any of the
dodging, but
many
this guy?
villages scattered across Japan. But you can't be sure unless you take them in for yourself.
Alright. Sure.
A common thing I would always stop to handle whenever I came across them were world activities. These are smaller locations and events that, when completed, add knowledge points to your characters, adding new options to their skill trees. Are
Yeah,
worth
yeah,
it in the
whatever. I
end.
don't really care
And
about those
some
things.
can add an interesting distraction from the action for a short spell. Between outings, I spent some time at the hideout. After collecting minerals, crops, and wood out in the world, you can use those resources to build and upgrade important buildings here that give you access to new assets. I spent the majority of my time at the forge managing my equipment, while other important buildings provide features that can be
I don't
managed in places outside of the hideout, like the new summoning ability from the
Like, I'm just thinking, it's an assassin's game. Why do you need a hideout that you have to like customize? Shouldn't the hideout upgrade with the story to provide better weapons?
the
It's a bit of a
dojo,
weird
which let me
thing.
call in help
It's
from
not
certain
something I would
allies I
expect
met
in
during
the
my
game.
adventure. I'm glad I didn't have to dote on this place very much, as I personally can't be bothered to decorate a homestead.
Yeah.
But those who
Same for me.
can won't be disappointed by the amount of cosmetics available to find and buy.
No, it can't. Cool. No way, pull
This
it.
version of
Both are super violent, by the way. I just finished playing Valheim. one of them killed me. Yeah. Hey, stay away from this shit. It's gonna grow up and kill you in your sleep.
This version of 1500s Japan is a beautiful place. There's such a symphony of color over every hill and across every lake. Each season brings with it incredible landscapes, sometimes covered in the copper brown of autumn or entombed in deep white snow. I found the weather to be some of the best I'd ever experienced in an open world. It was hard not to be moved watching powerful winds pick up and bring in rolling thunderstorms,
I do want to see more
especially
action,
when
though.
nature reacted to it all in real time, as flocks of birds take flight and ground critters scurry to find.
These things, like, they don't seem important, but they actually do add a lot to immersion. So, like, I do like these kinds of things.
Safety. And not for nothing, but
It's
in
like,
my dozens
it's like when you hit a wall or stone with a sword in games, and it bounces back instead of just going through. That's like, oh yeah, of course it does that. Yeah, so I can't sheath enemies by hitting them through the door or through a wall. Okay.
of
Yeah.
hours and shadows, I encountered remarkably few bugs for a game this size.
That's not a bug. The dude just doesn't care.
The 40-hour main story revolves around unmasking and eliminating members of a deadly organization called the Shimbaku. Once you've chosen a target, their multi-mission arcs give you regular opportunities to handle the situation with either Yasuke's might or Naoe's stealth. While there are certainly scenarios where one is more useful than the other, in general, there are remarkably few quests where Naoe
I mean, as an assassin, you should be able to one-shot them, no? So you should always be superior than the samurai, who has to go through the front door.
isn't better suited for the task at hand.
I'm not allowed here. I
Just
should
kill
be
them.
quiet.
If the Assassin's Creed playstyle is a combination of concepts like exploration, parkour, stealth, and combat, Naoe can do all of these competently, excelling at parkour and stealth in
Oh yeah, it's an
particular,
assassin's
while
game.
Yasuke can't climb very well or sneak around much due to his size and
I
general
don't know, man.
lack.
That seems like a pretty
can't
good
climb
climbing. Like, he's full on armor. He has like a... I don't know what that is. Looks like a club, but also looks like a sword or katana.
very well or
He's
sneak
climbing like
around
a
much
beast.
due to his size and general lack of grace.
I
That's
meant
fine.
to do that.
He is a devastating force in combat, but Naoe can simply sneak around most situations that Yasuke would cut his way through.
Okay, that's not a negative though. That's the whole point. Like, you're an assassin. You should be able to do this easier. It's Assassin's Creed. You're the main character if you're the assassin. Of course the samurai is gonna have a harder time.
Solving them with so much
not
less
a
trouble.
game made
As
for
much as
that.
I like Yasuke, he's far more limited and one-dimensional, with large parts of this game not quite designed to take advantage of his strengths. It's particularly disappointing because Shadows does find ways to tailor missions around both of their skills on occasion, usually in bigger, more pivotal, and more important battles where both heroes need to operate together to succeed. These special missions are separated into sections that allow you to choose which character to proceed with, changing what's asked of
that's
you
cool.
depending on your choice.
Yeah.
It's awesome, and made
Let
the
people
more
choose what they
homogeneous
wanna play.
space between these moments a real bummer.
That's nice.
Combat overall is more challenging and thoughtful.
The thing with a lot of these like kills is I've already seen them all. Like this one, I've done it in Sekiro like 100 times. Like actually,
Made the more homogeneous space
yeah,
between
go back or jump behind him and then
these moments a real bummer.
Yeah, I've done it in Sekiro. It's not really that impressive.
Combat
anymore.
overall is more challenging and thoughtful than in the past. Enemies, especially in groups, are more aggressive and tend to have solid
Sapper.
defense. Enemies,
Look at him. He has a fucking spear. He can just stab it
especially
right
in
here.
groups, are more aggressive and tend to have solid defenses, both in that they block a lot, and also in that many of them are armor, essentially giving them another life bar, effectively taking
So what does armor mean? Armor means you can't assassinate them. So you're an assassin that can't assassinate because they just come
them
back
down
alive.
means having a solid defense of your own, dodging and deflecting their blows to make them vulnerable, and taking advantage before they recover, though the camera can really struggle to keep all of the action in frame.
Alright.
Straightforward combat encounters really sing when playing as Yasuke, whose
I
suite
do like
of
this
weapons
move.
are all perfect for decimating enemies. Even outside of his toys, he's a juggernaut of a man, being able to literally run through walls
he
and
has
shake the
arrows,
earth with his blows.
like club and katana, or like a spear.
Naoe is very fragile by comparison, and while capable of doing lots
Yeah,
of
she's an
damage when
assassin,
enemies
that's
are
her
vulnerable,
character.
she gets overwhelmed easily by mobs, especially well-armored cruisers.
Yeah, just need
On the
past them.
flip
That's
side,
the thing.
Naoe is a menace when striking from the shadows or catching enemies unaware.
This is in other games as well.
There are some new features, like being able to crawl and dodge while prone, as well as some returning ones, like her eagle sense and the long-missing double assassination.
So does she have an eagle? Because in other ones you did have like an eagle to, so you can scout places. Do they not have it here?
All of which add up to make Naoe one of the most robust assassins in the series. Enhancing your combat abilities is mercifully less tedious than Valhalla's skill constellation. Naoe and Yasuke have skill trees focused on their weapons and specialities, with every node feeling far more impactful than simple passive damage bonuses, which still exists, but in small amounts. Gaining new abilities is obviously the most impactful, but some of the real hidden gems add new functionality to weapons, like being able to turn certain attacks with Naoe's chain sickle
interesting
into
weapon.
grapples that let you pull enemies into obstacles or off of cliffs.
Now, you don't really see this weapon often in games.
Speaking of X,
And when you do see them, they're usually like shitty. Like it's just an AoE, like a line. They just like the whips in Elden Ring. It's like I want more control.
Shadows takes a big step backwards from the work done around your inventory in Valhalla or Mirage. There are far too many pieces of randomized, color-tiered gear to pick up from fallen foes or earn as forgettable quest rewards that had no chance of making it into my rotation. Some might do as last-minute stopgaps to keep your stats in line with the bad guys, but only until you find that next piece of legendary gear or earn enough resources to level up a piece you already like. The skills in legendary gear, like this armor that has a chance to negate range attacks entirely,
That's
are
cool.
impactful in a way that the generic buffs that you get from the lower tier attacks entirely.
Wait, is this symbol like super famous? I've seen it in every samurai game. Like I'm pretty sure it was in the Ghost of Tsushima and other games. Like the flower. I guess it's the Nobunaga or whatever guy's symbol.
Are impactful in a way that the generic buffs that you get from the lower
don't really
tiers
know
of
much about their
gear
history.
never even come close
However,
to.
I have watched the anime Drifters. That's not very accurate though.
Assassin's Creed Shadows takes a flashing blade to the series' established norms, trimming them to a more precise form in lieu of chopping them down outright. Combat is aggressive and requires more intentional parrying and skill management than in the past.
Good.
And exploring the gorgeous provinces of Sengoku period Japan is encouraged thanks to a revamped map that de-emphasizes collecting icons and checking off lists. Naoe and Yasuke are well-realized and memorable protagonists, even though most of the story they drive follows pretty predictable paths. Both have unique playstyles that bolster each other's weaknesses, but they are ultimately imbalanced by the fact that you can make use of the stealth and exploration skills of the Master Shinobi far more than the superhuman strength of the samurai. This isn't the Assassin's
Looks like
Creed that
the
will change the
usual
minds of
Assassin's
folks
Creed
who have
games,
never connected
Like,
with the series before.
There's
But for
nothing I
those
feel
of
like
us with lots of hours logged into the Animus, the
There's
sum of
nothing
Shadow's
that's
parts
impressive.
provide a refreshing
Fun.
realignment that you should not skip.
Out of 7, that's impressive, huh? Coming from IGN.
For more action, check out our reviews of Monster Hunter Wilds or
You know what? What did Monster Hunter Wilds get? An 8? Wait, did they move from giving everything 7s to giving everything 8s? I guess people were memeing on them giving everything 7s, huh? Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.